So I'm heading out from the cottage this morning in the ever-expanding series of 2017 and the daily vlog, or at least the daily upload, or the daily presentation of what's going on, partially to sort of keep track of what I'm doing and remind myself, because at this time of year what I think about is the fact that it's like, okay, well, what have I done over the last year? And it's a good time of the year to sort of summarize that. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the modernization of everywhere. Right now, so we're on the island of Phu Quoc in southern Vietnam. And it was interesting because I watched a video on YouTube of this guy, and at the time his sort of summary of it was, get here, he's talking about Phu Quoc, get here before it's too late, right? And then I scrolled down a little bit in the video, and that was in 2013. So we're about 3.5 years after that, and I'll show you some stuff. It is still basically, it's growing and it's expanding, but it is hardly modern yet. And to give you a great example of how modern it has become, we're staying in this little cottage over there, right? And it's got air conditioning and everything, and it's like $57 a night with tax and everything, which is great, and we're like literally that close to the beach. But as I was just walking in there to get the camera to come out here, lazy girlfriend basically sends me a message, or actually tries to call me on Facebook from, I'm gonna go with 10 meters away, to say, bring me my chips. Because as you can see, she's massively overweight and needs more chips. Isn't she great? Awesome! So that whole intro basically was an opportunity to give her shit about sending me a message on Facebook. But here's what's funny, right? So, because I have this data plan on my Vietnamese self SIM that I needed to get, which, if you don't know, no carrier will roam here data-wise. So while I can turn on my T-Mobile and my my Thai SIM and my Philippine SIM, and I can get SMS, and I can make phone calls at a huge cost, data absolutely isn't happening. And so that was interesting because, like, literally this is the only country I've been to, I haven't been to many, but I've been to half a dozen, where T-Mobile works everywhere, and as does Google Fi, and if I'm willing to shell out the cash, data from all my other providers. So I'm walking now, and hopefully I won't die here, but I wanted to show you guys how it's like expanding like crazy, and it's just awesome. I mean, it's just amazing. So in fact, the house we were at was on the other side of this thing, and after being up there and looking down on where we were, I'm like, I want to go down past over there so we don't have to look through this to see the beach. And this guy has been here all day for the last, let's see, how long have we been here? We've been here for a while. 4 days. And every day he's cruising around, and he's like digging a whole bunch of sand, and he's, you know, moving it around as they do with any construction. So back to that video, the guy was like, get here before it's too late, before it gets all modern and that sort of thing. Well, I can tell you that while there are sort of pieces of modernization, and I'll give you a great example. I mean, look at this. This is beautiful, right? It's like they've taken this wood and they've carved it perfectly to make these tables and chairs. These are like super common. They must make these here, because I see that kind of wood with this sort of design like all over the island. Like all the restaurants, all the resorts seem to have those in it. And I don't know whether, actually I'm giving you a silhouette of me, but quite frankly, you probably don't watch this to watch me. Hopefully you're just kind of checking out my life, if it is of any interest to you. and again, like I said, this is more of a catalog for me. So I'm sitting there on the lounge chair, excuse me, next to Gracie. We had breakfast is provided with the resort we're at, and we're at the Cuu Long Resort, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's C-U-U, Cuu Long, Phu Quoc Resort, and we had breakfast at like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then came out and laid in one of the lounge chairs, or a couple of the lounge chairs. And then after about 2 hours, maybe, I don't know what time it is right now. After a couple hours, you really start feeling the sun. And so we moved up into the shade. And then I went in, grabbed some coffee, came out, and as I was laying there, I was thinking, reflecting back on the other years at this time of year, and what I will traditionally do, because for some reason if I like type it, or I just say it, or think about it, whatever, it's not real. So what I do is I do it the old-fashioned way, meaning I take a summary of the previous 365 days or so, and I write it all down. And sometimes I go chronologically. For the most part, it's usually easier to do it that way. Other times, what I'll do is I'll just kind of go over like big goals that I had from last year and that sort of thing. One of the things I absolutely do not do is get into some thing of like chastising myself for not getting it done or not getting it done fast enough. I do that enough throughout the year. I don't know about you. But so I wanted to check in and kind of show you a little bit about this modernization and how, you know, even 3 years later from that guy's statement, it's not completely modern yet. And I can guarantee you there's still plenty of time to get here. Now, there are absolutely full-on 5-star, well, I don't know, 5-star, full-on 3.5, 4-star resorts here. Intercontinental's got one, Novotel, and I saw signs, I don't know if it's completed yet, saw signs for JW Marriott. So that's pretty awesome. Which again, it's not Marriott, right? They just like lease out the whole brand. I believe it's Sun Properties that owns most of the Marriott properties around here. So anyway, so that's a little bit of a check-in. So I was curious about like, you know, what have I done over the last year? And so for sure, since I'm over here, part of my discussion around that is around travel and how I like exploring and finding new cultures, meeting new people, and as I mentioned before, trying to figure out a way to add value. I shared a little bit before about the whole idea of bringing a less than $50 phone to 1 billion people, a smartphone like the one I'm using right now. I have not figured out a way to add value in Vietnam. That's a challenge. I don't really know. They are growing very quickly, and it's interesting because, like, for some reason I was able to look at like the Philippines and Thailand and say, okay, there's a certain group of people that really should only be spending $50 on a phone. And I think I can help those people, right? But for some reason I can't. I don't know what that is with Vietnam. So anyway, I just wanted to check in. I hope your life is going amazing. I'm gonna check in a little bit later on the 2016 summary, and as we move into 2017, some other thoughts I have on that. But again, from Phu Quoc Island in southern Vietnam, I hope you're living the dream. Because if you're not living the dream, you're doing it wrong. Ciao.